whispering though. Trying to get my stream set up here. There we go. Hey, Jay Place.
For USA Today, I'm meteorologist Bobby Deskers. We're giving you an update on Hurricane Harvey, which has strengthened quite a bit today. You can see the center now of Cat 1 hurricane, 85-mile-per-hour winds approaching the southeast coast of Texas. As of 5 p.m., winds are at 85 miles per hour. It's moving to the north-northwest at 10 miles per hour, and pressure has dropped. That means the storm is strengthening. It is forecast to continue to strengthen through today and tomorrow, Friday afternoon into the evening hours, a Category 3 major hurricane. That's the forecast with 125-mile-per-hour winds. Right now, sometime early Saturday morning, late Friday night, mainly early Saturday morning, landfall near the Corpus Christi area as a major hurricane. We have not had that happen in the United States since 2005. And then it will slowly fall apart just barely over land. So initially there's going to be the wind and the storm surge threat as it comes on shore with a lot of wind. Then, because this is Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, right in here, all of that's right in here, we're talking incredible rainfall amounts are possible along where the center is to the north and the west and to the east. So that's where we're going to see most of the flooding. Now, here are a look at the watches and warnings. Now, these mainly are for winds. And so we've got hurricane warnings from Port Mansfield all the way up through Sargent, just south. Sargent is just south of Galveston. Now, we have tropical storm warnings, Sargent northward out to High Island, and then down towards the Rio Grande on the south end, south of Port Mansfield. Now, this is a storm surge warning, the purple area, pinkish purple here. This is the first time the National Hurricane Center has issued one of these in operation. They used the warnings and watches last year, but this is the first year it went operational, and they now have their first warning that's been issued. It goes from Port Mansfield all the way up to High Island. The worst area will be along the center of the storm and just to the north and east of where the center moves on shore. So that's going to change. But we're thinking now from Corpus Christi up towards Sargent will likely be 6 to 12 feet of storm surge, and that's above ground at high tide. And that number will change. All of what I'm showing you here will change a little bit. So if you're in that area, if you have family there, you need to watch this because this will change over the next 24 hours or so. But this should not change too much. There's a look at the satellite representation. The eye is now forming on this. It's starting to get a little bit covered up, but still it's starting to continuing to strengthen, and it looks like that will be the case over the next 24 hours. So stay tuned here with USA Today. There are some outer rain bands. These are just afternoon storms and the flow around the storm, but rain bands here from the storm will be moving on shore by Friday afternoon and only increasing as we go through Friday night into Saturday.
Residents in the Gulf of Mexico are filling hundreds of sandbags in preparation for possibly the worst hurricane in 12 years to hit the mainland United States since Hurricane Wilma struck Florida in 2005. Hurricane Harvey is forecast to make land this weekend, packing winds of up to 201 kilometers per hour. The threat has triggered evacuations along the South Texas coast.
So we are recommending in the strongest terms that if you live in those low-lying areas, that you get out and you begin to get out now. Go to a family member, a friend, somewhere, just get to higher ground.
Supermarket shelves are emptying fast as residents stock up on food, water and other essentials before the hurricane strikes. The National Hurricane Center expects Harvey to move slowly over Texas and linger over the state for days, dumping as much as 97 centimeters of rain on some areas.
Tonight, the forecast is urgent and distressing.
This is a very, very bad scenario for us here.
Hurricane Harvey intensifying rapidly, expected to slam into Texas as a Category 3.
We are going to, in the strongest possible terms, encourage the residents in the low-lying areas, as they say, get out of Dodge.
Harvey would be the first hurricane to make landfall in Texas since 2008, when Hurricane Ike killed 21 people in Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana, and caused billions of dollars in damage. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Rita also made landfall as Category 3 storms, devastating Texas and Louisiana, more than 1,000 people killed and more than $100 billion in damage. From Beaumont to San Antonio and Dallas to New Orleans, the preparations tonight are urgent.
It's getting more and more serious as time goes by.
A rush on gas, water, food, and flashlights. The nation's fourth largest city, Houston, bracing for catastrophic flooding throughout. Expecting more than 15 inches of rain over the next 5 days. Here in Corpus Christi, boards are coming up and sales are coming down. As Chuck Griffin prepares his boat, he remembers the last time a storm this strong hit here.
47 years ago.
Wow. So what did that do to the town?
Decimated it. It was a disaster.
So what do you think now?
I'm concerned that we're going to have some of the same damage if we get a Category 3 or Category 4 here.
The National Hurricane Center says get out, issuing for the first time a storm surge warning of up to 10 feet.
Need people to get...
No, I'm not sick. Oh, hey, wrecked. Okay, I said that right. Sorry. I thought I said wrecked wrong. Nope. Jay plays. It's just me sniffing. You know, everyone does that when they're silent. All you hear is just... That's all you hear. The one thing about me is that every time I yawn, and right when I say that I'm going to yawn, excuse me, sorry about that. Every time I yawn, my ears pop. Oh, man. And I don't like when my ears pop because everything goes loud. Like, everything's loud and I can hear myself. Everyone else that I know likes their ears being popped, but not me. I don't like it because everything's so loud. So when my ears pop, you hear me go like that to make my ears go back in and not be popped. So that's what I'm basically doing. But yeah, so wrecked. There is a hurricane, yes, but not in North Carolina. Here's the track. Here's the tracking that they got here. So basically, right now it is like hitting Texas because this little part right here already hit Texas. But as you can see by the tracking, the actual storm hasn't hit Texas yet. So the eye hasn't hit Texas yet, but it will hit Texas at some point in this area right here. So basically, let's zoom in here. It is basically, oh, here it is. Here's the part. So at Sacro right there, it's going to hit, and then it will hit close to Berkeley. So if you live near Sacro or Berkeley, Texas, get ready for this hurricane because, as they just said, these hurricanes are going to, it's going to make landfall right here at Saturday. So if you live in Texas, near Sacro or Berkeley, make sure on Friday, which I think is today, make sure today to get ready for the hurricane that will either come late tonight or tomorrow morning. So either tonight or tomorrow morning. So get ready for the hurricane if you live in Texas. Let's go on with this video.
Get out of those areas where we could potentially drown because of the life-threatening storm surge.
We're standing outside what would normally be a busy restaurant, but now, like so many others, it's boarded up. And this would otherwise be a busy marina, but like so many other areas, it's now evacuated for the most part. The governor has preemptively declared a disaster area in 30 counties, and schools throughout the region are now canceled.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube.
Throughout, expecting more than 15 inches of rain over the next 5 days.
I accidentally just backed up, but it's a good place to back up. It's a good thing I don't live anywhere near there. But yeah, so right now this is what they are tracking. So let me go ahead and zoom out here. So right now they're tracking that. It will also hit, it will hit Texas, it will hit Louisiana. If we zoom out more, but take that away, you know, let's just do, let me take some of this off. Oh, layers. Precipitation go off. So it's going to hit Texas, it's going to hit Louisiana, and then it might stop when it goes to Louisiana. Oh, Jay Plays, you live in Louisiana? I'm not gonna say you're not gonna say the actual place, obviously, but you live in Louisiana, the part that looks like Italy, the state in the United States that looks like Italy, a boot, or looks like an L. I'm kidding. Yeah, also, Jay Plays, I did hear that you hit 60 subs. I saw your live stream, and I saw your reaction when you hit 60 subs. When I get to, like, 90-something subs, I'm probably going to do a live stream to say road to 100. So, a tad bit of green. Oh, okay, I live in North Carolina. Yep. Let me take that away. Clouds, precipitation. So this is clouds and precipitation, and as you can tell, that right there is the hurricane. And look at all this rain around. It's just crazy. But it does look like the hurricane might keep going. I'm not sure, but it does look like if the hurricane keeps going, it's gonna maybe do a little bit of a turn and go out into the ocean. Either that, or it's just gonna diagonally go. Oh, either that, or it's just gonna what in the world? Either that, or if it's I can't draw up there. There we go, and then it just does this. Here, let me just do this. There we go. Either that, or if it's going to diagonally go up there. So yeah, so if it does turn, it might like go up a little bit and then do a little turn. That was horrible. So it might, look how close it is. Will it affect New England even a little? Well, it does not look like it will affect New England at all, because you have New England over here and the hurricane is right there. So the hurricane does look like it might die out before it would hit over there, because if it did do that and made it like a little turn, it would automatically go like out into the ocean and then just die out. But if it didn't turn, then it would go like that and then just die out and not even make it to North Carolina. So it would just, you know, it would, if you, here, let me show you this. Let me just find it first. Yeah, so people, we might add more. Well, not we. They might add more. But as you can see, it just looks like the hurricane's going to go that way, do a little bit of a turn, and then go up like that. And then it might die out right there. Or, oh, wait, no. It might die out right there. Or it might keep going, which it does look like it's going to go that way. So it's not going to hit North Carolina or South Carolina, but it might hit West Virginia, and I have family living there. Or it might just die out. So it might actually go that way, but like through like its travel somewhere, it's going to die out. So yeah, either that. So it's either going to go straight up like that, or it might make a little bit of a turn and hit a couple of land and then just die out in the ocean. You never know. You never know where a hurricane's going. But if you do live in Florida, I do see that you are getting some rainfall. right there. So be careful with that, because that rainfall might be a warning from the hurricane, or from God saying that the hurricane's coming. So the hurricane might do a little turn. It might do like a full U-turn and just go like that, or it might do a little bit of a straight curve thing and hit Florida. So you just gotta be prepared, because you never know what it will hit until the Weather Channel, or not the Weather Channel, until the weather stations or news places tell you. Because this is a Google map. It's weird how it says google.org, and then you got like this weird formation of clouds. But let's go on and keep talking about the hurricane through these videos. So.
Hurricane Harvey gaining momentum as it heads towards the Gulf Coast near the Texas coast right there. You can see the track of that storm. This is an area that is home to about 17% of the U.S.'s total crude oil production and about a third of U.S. refining capacity. The storm could worsen into a Category 3 hurricane by Friday and become the first to make landfall in Texas in about a decade, dumping as much as 2 feet of rain on the heart of the U.S. refining industry. Strong winds, we're talking 150 miles per hour, and a storm surge. Let's bring in, look who's here, Lippow Oil Associates President, the oil expert. He's Andrew Lippow. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good to see you. And how worried are you about the storm on the whole area? What are your thoughts?
Well, first, it's a very particular concern in Corpus Christi, because it looks like they're going to take a direct hit, and we're already seeing the refineries down there shut down. For oil production in the Gulf of Mexico, already nearly 10% of oil production is shut in the Gulf of Mexico. But if this storm comes in, makes landfall at Corpus, and then starts traversing eastward towards Houston and Lake Charles, it's a significant flooding event where the 30% of refining capacity could be impacted. That's going to impact the consumer. So I'm particularly worried about the flooding.
Tell us how it's going to impact the consumers. We of course, are staying on the story about how this could be a life-threatening storm, and we are watching this storm carefully to protect people in the area and report back to them. But gas prices, what do you think there?
Well, we've already seen gasoline prices in the bulk wholesale markets move up 10 cents a gallon. And should this storm start taking out the Houston area refiners, the impact to the consumer, especially east of the Rockies, could be 15 and 20 cents a gallon.
That's pretty significant, right?
Oh, of course, and you're going to see it quite a bit. But of additional concern is that the big pipelines that are supplying those East Coast markets like Atlanta, Charlotte, Washington, D.C., that originate in Houston, if they're flooded out, those pipelines are going to shut down, and so those consumers are going to be affected as well.
So that's basically saying that even though Texas is the one getting hit by the hurricane, there's going to be states affected because of Texas being affected by the hurricane, because Texas is basically the home of where we get oil. So places like Washington, D.C. and Charlotte, North Carolina are going to get affected because of Texas getting affected by the hurricane and losing all of its oil and losing the place that they make the oil, because we get the oil. We usually get the oil from Texas. So, yeah, we're going to be affected even though we're not even going to get hit by the hurricane.
What a story. Okay, so, you report on this during large hurricanes, the demand for gas, it looks like it drops because people are traveling less with all the wreckage, unfortunately. If regional demands have changed drastically, what does this mean for the overall market?
Well, it's true. Like in the Houston area, the Corpus Christi area, demand is going to go down. But today, everyone is running out to the supermarket to fill up with water.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But what does happen is that amount of demand decline, if you will, is really more than offset by the loss of gasoline and diesel coming out of the refineries. So that's where we get a big imbalance. So today, you saw the crude oil market decline nearly 80 cents a gallon, because with the refinery shut down, the demand goes down. But as far as the general public is concerned, yes, Houston is affected, but the rest of the country, not so much. And as a result, we're seeing spikes in gasoline prices.
How worried are you about this?
Well, I'm particularly concerned about the flooding event, especially if we were to get 20 and 30 inches of rain over a 3-day period. It's very difficult for the refineries to continue to get rid of all that water and not have the equipment flooded.
So yeah, the less gasoline that gas stations have, the higher the gas prices are, because it's going to be harder to get gas, so they have more gas stored for people.
But if we get 20 inches of water and it occurs over 4 or 5 days, they'll be able to manage it themselves through.
We know what comes along.
So yep, that was that one. And let's see if there's anything new on this. I don't know if they'll, edit it at all, but so yeah, as you can see, all of those places are being affected. And the weird thing is, that little part right there looks like the Texas state. Like, it actually does. Because if you look at Texas, you have, you have the little whatever that is, and then up, and boop, you have it like that. That's almost the exact same thing, because you have it up like that. So it's it's weird. But yeah, so it does not look like the hurricane updated at all, which I didn't think it would, but all these people are getting affected.
Along with living here, you take the risk to live in a really pretty place.
And tracking Harvey comes with a declared state of disaster. As we've mentioned, Governor Greg Abbott already declaring a state of disaster for 30 counties. It's pretty much everything from the Louisiana border to south of Corpus Christi. Now the question, what does that mean? Well, it means that state agencies are authorized now to spend money to respond to a disaster instead of going through a lot of red tape. It also suspends any rules that would interfere with a disaster response. A state disaster declaration is different from a federal one, which must be approved by the president and would then mobilize FEMA.
Okay, so this one is actually the Thursday forecast. So, let's go to this one.
Here's our forecasted track at this point from the National Hurricane Center. And some has changed with the forecasted track here. It is expected to move right through Corpus Christi as a Cat 1. Now, this may increase. I wouldn't be surprised if this afternoon or evening we do have a Category 1 hurricane on our hands, and maybe a Cat 2 forecasted. So intensity probably will change here over the next 24 to 48 hours before landfall, but it doesn't even really matter, even if it's a tropical storm at this point. This storm is expected to sit and linger for about 4 to 5 days. So the heaviest threat here locally will probably begin on Saturday, even though we're expecting landfall late Friday evening, overnight into Saturday morning. The purple that you see is a hurricane warning. We haven't talked about a hurricane warning across the area since 2008. So I know a lot of you this morning waking up, tuning in, saying, oh, we know about flash flooding here in Southeast Texas, especially in Houston. That can happen a handful of times throughout the year. But what about a Cat 1, Cat 2 hurricane sitting across the area for about
Cat means category
3 to 5 days. Yeah, we're not so familiar with that, are we? Anywhere from 5 to 15 inches expected as we head into Monday to Tuesday, but 20 plus inches of rain is possible. Most models indicating that at this time, no matter really the track or the intensity. So we're preparing you for flash flooding rains beginning Saturday through the weekend and into the beginning of next week.
So I looked at the legend here, and it says it looks like that for what it is. So basically, it looks like a tropical storm still, because it has the little hole for the number 2 to go in. So that basically means that this thing is a Category 2 still, and it's still a tropical storm. So it hasn't developed into a Category 2 hurricane or Category 3 hurricane or whatever. It's still a tropical storm, and it's still a Category 2. But because of all of this travel it's gonna make throughout the day, it might become a hurricane. It might become a Category 3 tropical storm. You never know. And also, like I said, Louisiana is going to get hit right here. This is if you look here, you can see Louisiana's getting hit, and they have warnings out. And this is the video that the governor of Louisiana made for the latest update about Hurricane Harvey, which is the name of the hurricane.
So the nature of this storm has changed very much over the last number of hours. It's getting more and more serious as times goes by. And we are expecting landfall in central Texas, potentially as a Category 3 hurricane. That will happen in all likelihood sometime early on Saturday morning.
So, as I just said it is expected to actually turn into a Category 3 tropical storm when it reaches Louisiana.
But we do know that with that projected path, the outer bands of rain associated with this storm will drop heavy rains on Louisiana. This rain threat will continue into next week. And one thing that I want to...
And through the path of the hurricane when it does so, if it does hit Louisiana, then let me actually do this. Hold on. So if it does hit Louisiana, the path is probably going to be like that. And it does say that when the hurricane does get to like a spot right here, they'll still have rain. Louisiana will still have rain for about a week after the hurricane hits them.
There is some potential that this storm will actually make landfall in Texas, and then after some period of time re-enter the Gulf and potentially move eastward towards Louisiana. Now that is not forecast.
So it's not forecasted, but they are thinking that the hurricane is going to hit Louisiana, then make a U-turn and hit Louisiana again. So as you can kind of tell, there is a super small chance that the hurricane will do that, and it isn't forecasted, but there is a tiny chance that it will happen.
As of now, but that is something that the weather service is telling us is a possibility, and they hope to have a better readout on that over time, so that we would get plenty of advance notice should that happen. But both the heavy rains that we can expect with the hurricane making landfall right around Corpus Christi, Texas, those rain bands, and the possibility that it continues to grow and move towards Louisiana are both threats that we should all take very seriously. We do expect that this will be primarily a rain event and not a wind event.
So they are thinking that even the hurricane's going to make landfall in Texas and come to Louisiana, but they are thinking even though the hurricane's coming, when the hurricane comes, it's mostly going to be rain, and there will be wind, but not a lot of wind is what they're saying. So they're thinking it's mostly going to be rain and not mostly wind.
The expectation right now is these expectations are over several days. So I don't want anybody to think that these ones are going to come in over a period of hours or just a day or so. Drop and come down. And this is going to happen over several days. But in southwest Louisiana, we're expecting 7 to 10 inches of rain. In central and south central Louisiana, 5 to 7 inches of rain. And one of the things that complicates this is the storm surge that we can expect as well. We know that from Cameron Parish to St. Mary Parish, the storm surge should be 1 to 3 feet. And that will obviously be worse at high tide, which we expect there will be a high tide at about 6:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. And about 6:30.
Oh, I think it just updated. Yeah, it did. It did just update. That was cool. So as you can actually tell, mostly all of the watches and warnings were right here, but now as you can tell, they actually put a couple more up here. Okay. Put a couple more right there. So if you live anywhere in there, make sure to be prepared for anything because it's obviously not the hurricane warning. It's just a, flash flood warning in central Oklahoma. Wanted person. Wow, they got that person. Wanted person. So we have, flash flood warning. We have heat watches in California because that's who they are. Hello, Matt, the meme man. How you doing today? And yes, I do care about fans. Why'd you say that? Are you saying that because I haven't said hello to you yet? I do care about fans, Matt, the meme man. But hello, Matt, the meme man. Matt, the meme man? Okay, I said that right. Okay, Matt, the meme man. I keep saying ma'am. Why do I keep saying Matt, the meme ma'am? Why do I keep doing that? I'm so sorry. Matt, the meme man. See, man. But anyway, how you doing today, Matt? You're Matt. You're Matt. But how you doing today? And I do care about my fans. And don't ask who he is, Looney Horn. I'm getting a lot of people on my streams that are new to me. So you don't really have to ask who they are because they might be new. Or they might be people I met on Omegle like you. I'm kidding. But anyway, let's continue.
I would also remind everybody that we have had more than our fair share of ethnic thunderstorms across the state this summer, and so the ground is relatively saturated.
So yeah, he just basically said that. So they haven't had a hurricane. Texas hasn't had a hurricane since 2008, and they are saying that with the hurricane coming, the Texas and Louisiana. Texas hasn't had a hurricane since 2008, but I don't know about Louisiana, probably. And then he said that the ground's basically saturated with water because they have had a good amount of storms. So, yeah.
So that will make it, any rain that we do receive will have that much greater impact than potential flooding. The National Guard has received over $500,000 sandbags that were purchased by the government's Office of Homeland Security.
That's a lot of sandbags. The National Guard has gotten 500,000 sandbags. So that basically means that they got 500,000 sandbags just for this hurricane.
The National Guard, as well as wildlife fisheries and the Fire Marshal's Office, has inventory made ready and in position boats, and also highway vehicles will be in position by the National Guard. With this being a water event, I'm encouraging everyone not to drive through high water. If you don't know that you can safely pass, then you should pass through those waters.
That just made me think of that commercial where the car goes in the water but then turns around. Well, gets near the water but then turns around.
Anticipate that because of the rain and the storm surge, that there will at some point over the next several days be some road closures. Quite often, voters will get to those areas that are impacted before it goes to the Department of Transportation and Development, or before local officials can to mark them and to close them. So we're asking people to exercise due diligence and not drive through high standing water. Recent experience in Louisiana has told us that that leads to 4 fatalities and just about anything else related to these floods. I also want to encourage everybody to be diligent for an extended period of time.
So I just was looking at those things as you just saw, and apparently, obviously Florida isn't going to get hit by the hurricane, but they are getting right there, as you can tell. They are getting flash flood advisories, and like this one is a flood advisory. and this one is a flash flood warning. So Collier County, Florida. If you live in Collier County, Florida, you are gonna get a flash. You're gonna get a flood. And if you live in West Central Florida, then get ready for a flood. You might not get one, but you might. So just get ready for it.
This storm is going to make landfall centered on Texas sometime on Saturday morning. It may not be until late Sunday or Monday, potentially as late as Tuesday before the maximum attack will be on the state of Louisiana. And to make sure that we're doing everything we need to, both to coordinate with our federal partners, but also with local government as well, I have signed a statewide emergency declaration and in preparation for Hurricane Harvey and its impacts on Louisiana. We do recognize that there are particular vulnerabilities right now around, I should say, in the waters because of diminished electrical generation capacity and pump capacity. But we've known that for a number of days now. We've been actually partnering with the waters along with our federal partners to make sure that we're doing what we can to restore that capacity as quickly as possible. There is nothing about Hurricane Harvey and its kind of forecast that adds any additional concerns to New Orleans.
Hee.
Unity should be our partner.
Help YouTube. I watch none.
Texas hasn't had a hurricane since 2008. That was Ike. This will be a hurricane when it makes landfall, and we're seeing rapid intensification right now. So I'm concerned we're going to see a hurricane within the next advisory, maybe at 2 p.m., at 5 p.m. And then the legacy of the storm, regardless of its category, whether or not it's a hurricane, will be storm surge and flooding, because the models are now predicting this storm is going to stall out, perhaps move over the Gulf of Mexico again once it makes its first landfall, and then perhaps go in towards Louisiana next week. So this is going to be a big deal. There's the forecast rainfall, upwards of 2 feet of rain, not out of the question.
So yeah, as you just saw it grow, if you go over here to the other map, it does look like the hurricane will be going at least that direction. So you won't get hit by the hurricane, but you'll get affected with rain by the hurricane. So
this is going to be catastrophic for folks along the Texas coastline. I know officials are meeting right now. If you have an evacuation warning and people are telling you to get out, you need to do it now. You don't have a lot of time. Water is warm in the Gulf of Mexico. That's the fuel that these storms need. Very warm. There's nothing in this storm's way.
Well, yeah. So these type of storms need warm water to activate, and as you can see by the water temperatures, we have temperatures in the we have temperatures in the 90s. We have temperatures near the 90s. So if you go outside where I live, that's basically the water temperature. So like, I'm not going to tell you where I live, but if you lived where I live and you go outside, that is the temperature of the water.
From intensifying, and I think we're going to have a period of rapid intensification. And the forecast models are very concise, making a landfall across the coast of Texas coastline, and then the models showing a stall and perhaps even going back into the Gulf.
She kind of looks like she's looking at the screen, because obviously you can't see what you're pointing at because it's a green screen. So it obviously shows she's not looking at the camera. It kind of looks like she's looking at a green screen, or it looks like she's just randomly pointing at stuff.
Of Mexico. Here's the steering that we have, Shannon. High pressure across the Rockies, high pressure across Florida, and there's nothing to steer this out of the way.
And there you go. That right there is the path of the hurricane, and it will mostly hit Houston and Curious Christie or whatever will get affected by rain.
And that is why I am so concerned that this is going to be a catastrophic flood event. Millions of people live along the Gulf Coast, and it is going to stall for the weekend and perhaps well into next week. A big deal, a big concern. People need to heed the warning.
Yeah, as you said, listen to those local and state affiliates who are there and know, and they're trying to help you get out before it's too late. Janice, thank you very much.
She was like strict, like
right to that hurricane watch. It's happening.
She was like strict. She seriously was like, "Get out! If the hurricane's coming, get out."
The Gulf Coast. Take a look at this image from NASA. That is Tropical Storm Harvey from space. It's massive.
And it is gaining strength right now. Evacuations underway in some parts of Texas. People are preparing for the worst. They're stocking up on supplies. We want to go right to Ginger. She's tracking the storm. Good morning, Ginger.
George, they are right to prepare for the worst because this will be a heavy rain event and flooding that could impact life and property. We could lose both the weekend. Let me take you to Tropical Storm Harvey that formed overnight or redeveloped, and you can see it's about 300 miles south and east of Brownsville. Max sustained winds right now 45 miles per hour, moving north at 10 miles per hour. There are hurricane watches, tropical storm warnings, and a hurricane warning for a large area in southeast Texas, but this flood watch extends all the way to San Antonio for up to 20 inches of rain. We've got to get to the track in just a couple of moments, but first, our Matt Gutman already standing in water this morning in Corpus Christi. Matt?
Hey, good morning, Ginger. You're right. Water is the major story here. Now, check this out. The water here off of Corpus Christi is like a bathtub, 87 degrees, which is great if you want to go swimming. Very bad for a storm. It's basically turbocharging Harvey. And all morning long, our phones have been buzzing with hurricane warnings. Texas is very much on its toes this morning. This morning, Texas declaring a state of disaster. The cities along a 600-mile stretch of the Gulf of Mexico bracing for catastrophic rainfall. We need people to be aware. Harvey churning towards the Texas Gulf Coast, upgraded to a tropical storm overnight. Major cities, including Houston and San Antonio, forecast for a deluge of over a foot of rain from this.
So it just said it upgraded to a tropical storm, but now at this point in time, it might upgrade to well, not upgrade to a hurricane, but it upgraded to a Category 2 tropical storm, and now it's going to upgrade not to a hurricane, like I said, but to a Category 3 tropical storm.
Storm plus potentially devastating storm surge.
We're going to have coastal flooding. All of our bayous and creeks would be potentially a problem with this type of rainfall.
Residents in the Lone Star State emptying shelves, many stores selling out of basics, including water.
Some of the essentials.
Water and food and batteries.
Just getting ready for it.
City officials and emergency.
The weird thing is, if I was parent, because I'm not really a water person, I would actually not get water. I would get other drinks except water. I mean, maybe a little bit of water, but not a lot, because I'm not a water person.
Responders preparing for the worst this morning. Local law enforcement practicing for potential helicopter rescues. College campuses under mandatory evacuations, and drivers warned to avoid the roads as main thoroughfares are shut down. Now, 12,000 students could potentially be locked out of the local university here. There's sandbagging operations all over this town, and there's concern as far away as New Orleans, 550 miles away, that the pumps there won't be able to handle that massive deluge. Ginger?
Matt, thank you. So much to talk about here, but we have to go to the track and the timing. I know that's important to everyone. So as it gets going, the next 24 hours, we should see this become a hurricane, a category.
So by this, I know it's going to get blocked, but by this, it does look like that it will be going that direction. And it does not look like it's going to have a turn on here. It looks like it's just going to go straight. Let me actually do this for a second. I can just go like that, and boom. And make this one bigger. Yay, now that can, yeah.
Category 1. It makes landfall sometime early Saturday morning just south of Corpus Christi in this latest track. Then it sits around, and that's going to be the problem. It does not move much, and that's where you're going to end up getting significant rainfall. Some of the warnings have up to 25 inches locally, a wide swath of 8 to 15 inches. And you can see it goes all the way, as Matt was saying, up through Louisiana. Storm surge 2 to 7 feet, huge waves that we will talk about in just a bit. And guys, this is going to be a big storm, not just because of the storm surge, but because of that rain, much like Tropical Storm Allison. Look at these images. From 2001, this was only, in quotes, a tropical storm. But if we remember, there were $5 billion in damage, more than 20 people dead, 30,000 homes in Houston lost because of the rain.
So just imagine that. Another hurricane comes in 2008, it costed $5 billion of damage. So just imagine this hurricane costing another $5 billion in damage. That would mean that because of bad weather, Texas and Louisiana, well, not Texas and Louisiana, probably just Texas. So just Texas, I think, would basically have already spended 10, if it's that much damage, Texas would have spended $10 billion in damage for the 2008 hurricane and for this 2017 hurricane. We've watched so much of today on here.
Okay, I appreciate it. Now we'll,
okay, so let's go to the next playlist I got. I got 2 playlists. And let's go to this one.
Texas hasn't had a hurricane since 2008. That was Ike.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we already saw that one.
We want to get right to that hurricane watch that's happened.
Nope, we saw this one too. Not for broadcast. What?
Wherever your great idea happens, HostGator can help you make it a business.
I feel like I want to do that when I grow up.
We've got Tropical Depression Harvey down here to the west and northwest of the
Tropical Depression.
Yucatan Peninsula, and we've got a tropical wave that's helping enhance our chances for rain. As far as Harvey goes, we've already got hurricane watches and hurricane.
So he was talking about the tropical hurricane, which is right, obviously, right there. And then he was talking about the tropical wave, which is right there, the one that is already circled. So if you live there, you are getting obviously high tides and very high rain, or very high rain and a little bit of wind, like a little bit of strong wind, but mostly rain. And then over here, you're just getting high tides. Like that's all. You're probably getting a little bit of wind and high tides, but that's pretty much it for there.
Watches and tropical storm watches that have been issued for the Texas coast. This will likely strengthen to at least a tropical storm again. Remember, it was a tropical storm when it was moving through the Caribbean, and then it fell apart. Now it has redeveloped into a tropical depression. The latest track from the Hurricane Center has it moving up toward Corpus Christi by the time we get to the end of the weekend, through the weekend, and then curving up into western Louisiana over the weekend and into the beginning of next week as a tremendous rainmaker, because it slows down, incredibly slow moving as it makes its way up the Texas coast and over toward Louisiana. So we'll have to see. This is a very dangerous storm. We could see a lot of flooding in Texas and Louisiana over the next 5 or 6 days. Here's a look at what's happening with our weather. We've got that tropical wave that moved across the Atlantic and then kind of parked itself over the Bahamas yesterday, moved across the state overnight last night into this morning, and now
So they were just talking about the little rain that was right there, but now it's gone and only it's clouds and most of. Actually, wait. Let's turn off clouds and turn on precipitation. So yeah, that's the hurricane right there, and there's the rain. Right there. There is the rain he was talking about. And as you can see by in there, there's a flash flood advisory and a flash flood warnings because of all that rain. So get ready.
To the southwest of our viewing area, but it's helping to generate quite a bit of rainfall.
Joining us now on the phone from Corpus Christi, Executive Director of the Port of Corpus Christi, John LaRue. Also joining us is Patrick DeHaan of GasBuddy.com. John, I'm going to start with you. As I mentioned, you closed the port yesterday. What kind of damage are you expecting from this storm right now? What are your forecasters telling you, John?
Well, our forecasters are saying just what your meteorologist said, that the storm will hit later this evening, probably 115 to 120 mile-an-hour winds. One of the
concerns is not just the wind, that level of wind, which is high, but the duration. We could see significant wind like that for 24 hours. And then, of course, nobody really knows, but the rain event could go on. So we're ready. We've trained for a long time for hurricanes. We haven't had one here in Corpus Christi of this size for over 47 years. So there aren't many people in positions of authority that have lived through it. So it will be a difficult few days for all of us.
John, are you getting all the resources that you need from the state and even federal authorities at this point?
Yes, the pre-planning and the work that we've done so far, we've worked closely, obviously, with our principal point of contact is U.S. Coast Guard. The captain of the port works closely with us on when we close the port. They make that official announcement, and also when we open it, we'll have to work and have had a lot of pre-work with the Corps of Engineers. Of course, before we can reopen the channel, we will have to have a survey done of the channel to make sure there are no obstructions, or in some cases with storms like this, the channel can actually almost move where parts of it fill in. So that will take a couple days. Our channel is 36 miles long from the Gulf of Mexico to the end, and they'll have to wait until they can get in a boat and go out and survey it. So it will be a few days before we get back up and running.
Patrick, talk about the impact on oil and gas in terms of production in the region, in the Gulf, but also the refining and storage facilities that might be in the path of this storm. The Gulf, of course, produces about 17% of all U.S. crude oil. Nearly half of the country's refining capacity is in that part of the country. So what is the potential impact, and are you already seeing it in some of the local prices?
So you guys already know that how basically Texas is the main place where we get oil, and because of Texas being hit by the hurricane and getting strong winds and rain, all of the oil refineries might get damaged. And like I said, Texas is the main place that we get oil, and it will so basically, here's how I put it if you weren't here. Basically, even though Texas is getting hit by the hurricane, places like Charlotte, North Carolina, and all of these places that get oil from Texas are going to get affected too. Not by the hurricane, but they're going to get affected because of Texas, because of the Texas oil refineries not having oil to transport to those places. So the gas prices are going to go up, and because they want it to be harder for gas. They want it to be harder for people to pay for gas, so they will have more gas for people. So that is why. And now, before I end my live stream, we are going to watch one more video, but do not worry. This is not the only live stream I'm going to have today. This is kind of like a off-topic live stream that I wanted to have, and this is kind of a, like I said, this is kind of an off-topic live stream I wanted to have, but I will also be having my live stream at 6 to 7:30 p.m. today. So hope to see you guys there.
That hurricane rapidly growing in size and strength, barreling through the Gulf and headed toward the U.S. tonight. Harvey becoming a Category 1 hurricane just this afternoon, 85-mile-an-hour winds already, and still growing. Expected to be a Category 3 when it hits. Urgent warnings going out, evacuations underway at this hour, flights already being canceled. Families stocking up for what could be nearly 3 feet of rain. And if the forecast is right, it would be the first Category 3 to make landfall in the U.S. in more than a decade. Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z has been in the newsroom with us all afternoon tracking this. And Ginger, where is Harvey right now?
Hurricane Harvey is less than 300 miles south and east of Corpus Christi. We take it to the maps, David, to see it moving north-northwest at 10 miles per hour. In the next 24 hours, we will see again rapid intensification. And that's why the track takes it into that hurricane-warned area as a Category 3 major hurricane. Those hurricane watches and warnings have been up, and now you see the track taking it through the weekend, staying at Category 2 through the afternoon on Saturday, making a U-turn.
So as you can see, it cools down. It actually goes 1, 2, 125 miles an hour, 120 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, 50 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour, and then still at 40 miles per hour. So while it goes, it cools down. So hopefully it will hopefully we'll hit Louisiana, hopefully we'll hit Louisiana and then die out.
Back toward the Gulf of Mexico and then going north and east. We could be talking about this storm, David, through the next midweek or beyond. And that's why that local 35 inches is up in that white area. It is a 10 plus region, and why rainfall and flooding are the #1 impact as far as life and property loss. And then you see storm surge, 6 to 12 feet, waves up to 20 feet. In the wind warning, they're saying locations could be uninhabitable for weeks or even months.
But we cannot underscore it's the rain. Up to 35 inches of rain they're talking about right
Days
now.
on end.
All right, Ginger, thanks. Ginger Z leading us off. Texas, of course, right in the path tonight. The first significant...
I'm just going to do it with the weather. So thank you guys for watching my live stream. If you did enjoy it, leave a thumbs up on my live stream if you haven't, and if you did, thank you for the thumbs up. And like I said, this is not the only live stream I'm going to have today. I'm also going to have my 6 to 7:30 live stream today with maybe friends if they're available. So thank you guys for watching my live stream. Leave a thumbs up if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. That was horrible. Bye. Still horrible, but I'm gonna take it. See you later, guys.